Title Zelensky's plea, seeking Biden's support for Ukraine's defense against Russian aggression. In the face of Russian aggression, Zelensky appeals to Biden as a protective figure. In the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has found himself in a position that calls for strong, decisive leadership from the West. As the conflict drags on, Zelensky has increasingly sought the support of U.S. President Joe Biden, both as a military ally and a figure of guidance, similar to the role of a father figure. Zelensky's latest request, permission to use long-range missiles to strike targets within Russian territory, underscores his need for more robust military assistance to defend Ukraine's sovereignty. From Zelensky's perspective, asking for long-range missile capabilities is not an act of escalation, but a necessary defense. Since 2014, Russian President Vladimir Putin has waged a campaign to prevent Ukraine from moving closer to the West, particularly in its bid to join NATO. Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 is the most aggressive manifestation of this goal, seeking to reassert control over a sovereign nation that refuses to bow to Moscow's influence. Zelensky's demand for stronger weapons is therefore a logical step in protecting his nation's right to self-determination. If the US and NATO stand for the principles of democracy and sovereignty, then supporting Ukraine with such defense measures is both justifiable and necessary. It is important to remember that Ukraine's decision to seek closer ties with NATO is fully within its rights as a sovereign state. Putin's determination to stop Ukraine from joining NATO, as well as his broader attempts to exert Russian influence over former Soviet republics, is not rooted in legitimate security concerns, but in a desire to prevent the growth of Western-aligned democracies on Russia's borders. Neither Putin nor any of Russia's allies, including Belarus or Georgia, has the legitimate authority to dictate Ukraine's foreign policy choices. Ukraine has the right to pursue NATO membership, and neither Russia nor its regional allies can prevent this if Ukraine wishes to do so. Biden, as the leader of the free world, must view Ukraine as the independent and sovereign nation that it is. Any foreign aggression, particularly Russia's illegal incursions into Ukraine, must be treated as a violation of international law. The United States, under Biden's leadership, has consistently condemned Russia's actions, but more must be done. Biden must emphasize to Russia that any acts of aggression inside Ukraine, particularly those targeting civilians and infrastructure, will not be tolerated. Furthermore, Russia's use of its veto power in the United Nations Security Council, UNSC, to block any meaningful resolutions against its invasion is a roadblock to global peace. The West, led by the US, cannot allow Russia to continue its unchecked aggression. Given these facts, Ukraine should receive unconditional support from the US and its allies, including NATO. The idea of withholding support due to fears of escalating the conflict plays directly into Russia's hands, allowing them to maintain leverage in the region through intimidation. The destabilization of Ukraine is not only a threat to Kiev, but also to Europe as a whole. A prolonged war and potential Russian victory would embolden Putin to further destabilize neighboring countries, expanding Russia's influence while simultaneously weakening the European Union and threatening the strategic interests of the United States. Moreover, the potential consequences of Russia's continued aggression are dire, particularly if nuclear facilities in Ukraine are targeted. Any attacks on these facilities would present a catastrophic danger, not only to Ukraine, but to Europe and beyond. The fallout from such an event could destabilize global security and provoke a far more significant international crisis, which could drag other powers into conflict, including Russia's allies like China and Iran. The Biden administration must recognize the urgency of the threat posed by Russia's war against Ukraine. This is not just a regional conflict. It is a battle for the security of Europe and the balance of global power. By supporting Ukraine unconditionally, both with military aid and diplomatic pressure, the U.S. would be sending a clear message to Moscow that aggression against a sovereign nation will not stand. Zelensky's plea for long-range missiles is a call for defense, not provocation. Biden must respond to this request with the gravity and responsibility befitting his role as leader of the free world. Supporting Ukraine in its fight is not only a moral imperative, but a strategic necessity for maintaining global stability.